Hey guys, and welcome to my channel and to this video. Today I will be painting this girl in a Red Riding Hood, just leaning on a tree in a forest. I hope we will have fun all together, and the sketch is available for download from my website, so there is a link down in the description box. You can go ahead, check it out, download it for yourself, trace it, and just join in. I have already traced my sketch onto this watercolor paper and just used a kneaded eraser to remove the excess graphite, because I do use a graphite paper for tracing, so it does have a lot of graphite on my paper, and I don't like when I start using watercolors for that to spread all over. So I have picked up the excess graphite. Right now with this masking pen, I'm just adding the borders, doing the borders, masking the borders for my girl, because when I do the background, I really do want to skip the part where the girl is and don't have to be really careful to go around the edges. So that is the reason why I'm using masking fluid. Actually, for the lower part, masking fluid or masking marker is not even necessary, because that part is going to be very, very light, but I did put it anyway there. So if you don't want to put it, if you don't want to use a masking fluid, you can definitely do this painting without. And you can see I'm just doing the borders and not really masking the entire girl. That's really not necessary, just the borders. When finished with that, I have pre-wetted the entire paper and mixed in a little bit of black and a little bit of blue and brown. Those are colors from my cozy set, and just doing the trees, the forest behind, and you can see I'm doing it very, very abstract and not really bothering myself with the details. First layer I did a little bit lighter, mix of same colors but less blue in it, and for the second layer I used a little bit more blue, so you can see those trees are a little bit more blue. And also use the same colors but in a lighter wash for the tree and for the snow all around, because I do want to make it look like there is a snow and just a couple of grasses sticking through that snow. Couple of branches from the tree, and you will see all of that in the sketch. The entire painting is actually quite, well, I guess not really realistic, but just doing the impressions of some trees, doing the impression of some branches, and don't bother yourself with too many details. We really don't want too many details. We do want our girl to be in a focal point, so everything around it is very, very light and very, I guess, just there. Now a couple of grasses. I'm using this Lebanson paintbrush. This is a small goat synthetic mix. And now again mixing in a little bit of the black and some brown. This is a warmer brown. Something like, I guess, burnt sienna. And I have dried my brush onto the paper towel because I do want it to be almost dry. Just a little bit of the paint in it, and when the painting completely dried, I'm just doing the dry brushing technique. You can see with the belly, with the side of my brush, I'm just adding some textures to the tree. And as I said, paper is fully dry and my brush is also almost dry. Very, very little water in it, very little paint in it. If you like, you can practice some of the dry brushing technique on the side, and just maybe when you pick up the paint, try it on the other paper, just see the consistency and see if you will get those dry brushing marks, and if not, just dry a little bit more your brush onto the paper towel. And also I'm using cold press watercolor paper, and that one is a little bit more textured, so in a hot press paper dry brushing technique doesn't really work. So you do need a little bit of the texture to your paper to have nice those dry brushing marks. adding just a few branches with that same brown I used for the tree. Again, not too many. We really don't want to have a forest just near our girl. Just a couple of branches, and they don't even have to all be connected to each other because there is a snow. Maybe some parts of the branches are covered with the snow and not visible, so that's also fine. And right now I'm just removing that masking marker like a crazy person. I was actually painting first part of the painting, and I believe like 10 days later I was painting the second part. So it was going really hard. Masking marker was really hard to remove. So that's also a tip, don't leave it that long. And right now I'm painting in the hand, and I used a little bit of the yellow and the brown mix for the first layer. Even though it now seems very dark, it will dry a lot lighter. And also I've added a little bit of the pink to that mix, and painting in some of the details to the hand, and then painting in the hair for a girl, even though it just look like some, I don't know, something with what she covered her face, but it's actually a hair. So just on top, adding a little bit more details. And right now I'm mixing in some red. This is a red from Etchr palette. I'm not actually mixing, just picking up. And I'm doing a light wash on her hood. And all the way, entire way, painting in. On top I decided to add one more layer because I do want it to be very red and just to stand out there, so I've added a little bit more of the red. And I do want that to be a bright red. You can of course use any color you like to paint it. If you want to make it blue, if you want to make it green, yellow, whatever you like. I really do love how that red stands out in front of that bluish and brownish tones. So a little bit more of the red, just minding the edges. And now again with the mix of blue and black. This is something like an ultramarine, I would say, and a black. I'm painting in her dress. And you will see on the sketch there are some lines like ribbons on her dress, so I'm painting them, just trying to make the distinction between those ribbons and the entire dress. Very light wash. You can see it's barely visible. But on top, I'm just adding a little bit more of the details where those lines are, creases on her dress. And now with the brown, I'm just doing a little bit more details to the hair. Just adding a couple of singular hairs just to, make it look like it's a hair. And her head is turned on the other side, away from us. And you can see right now when the paint dried, how her hand is quite lighter. So yeah, as I said, watercolors do dry lighter, so keep that in mind when you're painting, even though sometimes it may seem that it's quite dark. When it dries, it will be lighter. And a little bit more of the details to that hood, some creases again there. And the distinction between the upper and the lower part. And for that, I did use A same red I used for painting in the entire hood, but I've added just a little bit of the darker green as a complementary color, just to desaturate that red a little bit more and to make the, I guess, those creases, those shadows color. So just a little bit of the green in my red. Again, you will see the lines on the sketch, so to know where to add those creases and shadows. Right now it dried slightly, those creases, those lines I painted, they dried. And on top I'm adding one more layer of red because it was looking too light for me, so I did want to make it slightly darker. But now that those lines first dried, because if I was adding it on top while still wet, they would just smudge all over, but when dry we can just glaze layer or another layer on top. So that is what I did. Also added a little bit more details to the hand, and again a little bit more details to that. Just make those creases a little bit darker now because we have added more color on top, so they are now a little bit lighter, not so dark compared to the rest of the hood. So I did wanted to add a little bit more of the shadow color. Again, same thing, green and red mix. A little bit more of the details with that black and blue mix to our dress. And also I decided to do a couple of splatters just to create a little bit more texture around. And that's basically it. We are done, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. This is the first one in this year, and unfortunately I couldn't do videos for a couple of weeks. So right now I'm back. Hopefully I will be doing a lot more very soon. Yeah, I'm just picking up a little bit of the paint there to make a little bit more contrast between the highlights and the shadows on the hood. And well, I guess I hope I will be seeing you a lot this year, and I hope we will enjoy together and paint together. And I do wish you a very nice, productive year to all of you. And guys, thank you so much for watching, for subscribing to my channel, for supporting me throughout the years. And I really do appreciate that a lot. And for those who haven't subscribed yet, well, do it. What are you waiting for? There are just lots and lots of tutorials on my channel that you can just watch and learn and paint along. And I guess, well, that's everything. I believe that's everything. Thank you guys a lot for watching, and I hope I'll see you next time. Bye!